Hello everyone, I am Manas Gupta here as a representative and word facilitator of DSC IMSEC welcomes you all to our third session of Android Study Jams reporting. This study jam has been organized by four DSCs: DSC IMSEC, DSC NSSCE, DSC ADGITM, and DSC NMAMIT. As a guest today, I have Mr. Himanshu Singh with us. He is a Google developer expert for Android and an Android engineer in the Roomi, and he is also a speaker in the Google Developers Group. Today, he will be introducing us to the Android development roadmap. Handing over the dice to Mr. Himanshu Singh now.
Right. So even before starting, let me just confirm: am I audible properly to you guys? Right.
Yes, Bhaiya, audible.
Perfect. Hey everyone. So this is a virtual event, frankly. So I don't know how to actually interact with you all people. I'm just here. So I'll be actively looking for all the comments and chats coming up. So if you have any queries, you can just drop me at that instance itself. I would be actually replying to all of the questions you have. But even before that, so I'm not going to keep this as formal as all of the talks. So I won't be having any PPTs or any other thing. I'm just going to talk here. Maybe that should be interactive enough. If you guys want, I can speak out in Hindi, English, anything. So if you have any preferences, you can reply in the comment. That would be even better for me to understand in what language do you need it. Cool. So initially, thank you so much, guys, for having me here. Frankly, I don't know the full forms of your college names. Everything is a 5-character letter. So sorry for that, but thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You should be doing this. But let's start. So I am an Android developer like for 5 years, 4.5, 5 years. I exactly don't know that. So right now I work as a senior Android engineer at a company, US based firm. It's called Roomi. We actually are into rental platforms of renting out a flat, giving people like roommates and stuff. So that's what I do. I lead the Android team there. And like in perspective, I just graduated 2 years back. So if you have to see in that way, in 2 years, an Android engineer, one of the senior engineers in the team, that's the journey what I have covered. And now I'm also one among the 5 experts in India. So that's what I have been doing recently, and that's how everything like pans out for me right now. In future scopes, there are a lot of technologies we might work on. I might work on. It can be back in Android, anything. But for now, the main priority for me is to come up with just Android. So that's what I have been doing. Now, but now let's start off with my own journey first. Then I'll make you understand how you can actually start on a similar basis. So when DSC, the Developer Student Club, actually got their pilot program, I think it was 2017 or 16. I was among the first batch of it. So I was the DSC as well on the pilot batch. And that time Corona was not there. So our felicitation what happened in Goa. So everyone went to Goa. We had a fun for 3-4 days. All the events, we got a chance to interact one-on-one with a lot of different people. So that's how my journey started into community services. And even before DSC, we had another program very much similar to DSC, and that was known as Applied CS, Android Applied CS. In that, what we need to do is we had to use Android ecosystem, and we had to felicitate a lot of different students into using data structures alongside Android. That was a very fun aspect, I would say, to do. But the most challenging part for me was actually I didn't know Android. So मुझे Android नहीं आता था at that specific point, but I got selected anyhow. Reference or recommendations, anything. I don't exactly remember that. So when I went, like we had a boot camp of 2 3 days. I actually went on to Google Ka office. We had a certain set of tasks which we needed to complete. Everything was either in Java or it was in Kotlin. Sorry, Android. So we had to do a lot of different stuff at that aspects. And I was one of them who was doing nothing because I didn't know Android. So that was the first day I realized that okay, I should actually pick up Android to do a lot of certain different questions, a lot of different programs or apps, because I was always fascinated with how apps are built and being used, but I was not sure that that is what I wanted to pick up as my career choice. So eventually, when I came back to my college, I had to give couple of workshops and sessions, right? So tab I started exploring Android ecosystem because I needed to in anyhow complete a lot of different sessions, a lot of different workshops. So I started exploring Android. I started learning the best practices and whatever not what not you can explore about Android. So that's what I actually did. But coming back, thoda experience I got of Android, which was good enough for me going ahead and starting Android. Then with DSC happening to me, then there was an additional set of responsibilities because I was once a facilitator for applied CS. At the second instance, I was also for DSC. Now people actually look up to you and say, Ki, what do you need? What do you think? Now in your college, your junior starts Android, and they actually come up to you and ask for queries and questions. That is when I thought, for now, let's actually choose Android and let's see how it goes ahead in my future. Then I started Android, and then the things panned out. I was in my third year. I got my first job. So I was doing a remote job then while being in college. I was very like initial startup at a very initial startup, and I built the product. So I learned a lot of things. I built a lot of things there. Even I didn't know the best shots of Android, but whatever I could learn, I did learn there, and uh, I experimented a lot of things to understand the ecosystem of Android. By the time I resigned at that position, I was at a good space, and frankly, that I knew how to do things. After that, I don't know if a lot of people might know this. There's a company called Smaaash, a gaming company. Then I contracted with them. I helped them build a digital product, gaming product, the cricket, which you know right now, which is played. So I helped them build their whole mobile version of it. So that was my first instance of getting like a very big fame, I would say, because a lot of people used to come on the centers of them and used to play cricket. But me building a digital product where you can use that phone as a cricket bat and virtually you can play. Uh, so very much pretty similar to how PlayStation does of playing a cricket match. So that's what I did. That's an understanding how I did to fame, and that actually shot up like that whole product. So that point, then I joined another company after the contract ended, and I'm still there for now, last 2 years. But now I've been working on that aspect that now I know a lot of things in Android, the best practices, and a lot of different things which you need to learn. So my journey started in Android was as a student, and I definitely agree that being part of a DSC and being part of other community programs which Google had at that initial stages actually helped a lot. So that's how my journey started. I'm going to actually run you through all the different levels you're going to face when you are in college. But this is one of the initial stages. So, do you have any queries regarding any of these? What I've been speaking right now, because I'm going to keep it very short because I want to actually take FAQs and questions and from you guys. So I'm going to just run you through. So I don't know what's the average crowd audience right now. It can be first year, second year, third year. I don't exactly remember, but let's say that you are in first year. So considering that you are in first year, that is a time you definitely don't need to explore what you want to do. It can be for hobby, it can be for some activity, but That should not be a time you should be exploring stuff, because your first year goes just deciding what to do in your college, and it's not about your career choice, right? Our college, the placement used to happen around third year, second sem, and fourth year. So the best time is when you just give your exams of first year, second sem, and then you start off exploring Android or web. Definitely, that's how you need to decide what you have to do. So consider, like, I'll break it down everything in semester wise, right? So it can be fun. Don't ask, and I don't say that you have to agree with what I say, but this is what I personally feel. When you actually step up to your college the first semester, no matter which college you are in, you have given some time of your life, that 11th and 12th standard, to be the best, like just to crack certain exams, and you left the whole life behind you just because you wanted to give a best shot at JE mains or advanced or AI triple E. I don't know what exactly it's now. So you give your best shot. That 2 years you're actually out of your life, which you didn't explore a lot. So definitely for me, or like my suggestion is always that the first semester of your college should always be a time for yourself. Something to look behind, that what did you make a mistake as? Where didn't you think that you could have done better? Or maybe a certain journey which you wanted to do, let's say some sort of trip, or some sort of a hobby which you missed out, which you lagged behind, maybe painting, maybe let's say a long drive, anything. I don't know long drive is possible or not because license issues, but anything which you couldn't do in last 2 years, that semester is definitely the one which you need to decide what you can do right now. So that's first semester. Just do whatever your hobby was, whatever you missed out. Maybe watching IPL is a better option because you might have not watched it. Spending time with your friends, making a good bond in college, that matters, because when you graduate out of your college, there are only one or two people whom you can actually go and talk to, because everyone would just go into a race of becoming a good engineer, a good great earning engineer, but there are only one or two people whom you are going to talk to, and these persons actually you meet in your first semester, second semester, in and around that. So that's something you can do in your first semester. Second semester is something. First, in second semester you need to see ki first semester mein if there are any backs, then you then you need to reflect on that. Ki why did you get a back, and you also need to clear that out, right? That's the initial stage. And if you're lucky enough, you won't have a back. Okay, so if you don't have a back, step ahead, do a lot of experiments now. uh, what do you say, the engineering, drawing, a lot of different fields comes up there: chemistry, physics, engineering, mathematics. Just see what interests you more. It can be physics, it can be civil, it can be programming languages, it can be any field, right? And why I am saying this, because once you select a domain, right, when you select a domain, it doesn't matter if you select a petroleum engineering or do you select a civil engineering. What actually matters is if you want to do that in your as a career choice, because I know people who are good software engineers but are from civil department, or who are into good mathematical like scientist, but they were from chemistry department. So departments doesn't decide what you need to do after 4 years of your life. It depends on what you want to do. So that's something you need to decide.
Yes, Bhaiya. Bhaiya, you can
I
start
think
now.
I think it's
Yes.
live. Yeah.
Yes, Bhaiya.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. So starting off where we were actually, sorry for that issue. So now considering I have to talk about Android a lot. So in Android, consider when you have to start, right? The first issue or the first thing you need to figure out is you need to start off with a programming language which you want as a favorite choice. It can be Java, it can be Kotlin, but when you are actually starting off uh, with language preference, I would definitely say Kotlin. But to understand the core, why everything is happening, I would say at least give a month to Java. First, understand the Java basics at least, and then switch on to Kotlin. So you don't need to understand all the depth concepts of Kotlin again and again, but first check the basic things which comes up, like how to declare a variable first, then a function, then methods, and all of that specific bits and parts things. Then second concept you should understand in a programming language when using Java or Kotlin is the object oriented or the solid principles. So in second year, I don't know, but it was in my course. So in second year, you definitely have solid principles and a lot of this stuff, which we actually don't understand in college. We are like कि ये तो theory है, हमको ये सब का need नहीं है, but you should definitely understand what uh, solid principles are, or how a lot of oops concept works, right? Oop concepts. So you need to understand that in Java. So you don't have to be in depth again. You just need to understand the basic concepts or the basic things which you think is good, right? Example, consider this. Uh, we see a lot about polymorphism, but we don't actually see a lot of practical examples of it. So that practical example actually comes up uh, when you decide to step into Android. So that's how you can understand basic things, basic concepts, or basic baby steps onto Android. So once you think you are good enough, you have a good grasp of Android, right? Then, uh, oh sorry, of Java. Then I think you should just check how Kotlin and Java is interoperable. So now if you have a basic idea of Java, see how you declared a variable there. And now on a similar aspect, just check how you declare a variable in Kotlin. Similarly, check how you declare a function in Java and just map it out with Kotlin. So what I'm trying to say here is that when you actually decide to do something here, right, you just need to understand the mapping of it. Variable in Java to Kotlin, function here and there, method here and there. So once you understand both the languages, again, I'm saying you don't have to be an expert in that. You just need to start, right? So once you do that, the next step is for you to install Android Studio. That's a whole different pain. So there are good resources, couple of good resources coming up, like for Android ecosystem as well. So you can use that for having a basic installation guide, just understanding how Android Studio works. And there are a couple of YouTube videos as well where you can see 10-15 minutes ka video which helps you out to understand Android Studio and its operations. Right now, just go to YouTube, Google that I need to make. So if you know that in any programming language, the first program you write is Hello World. Similarly, just Google how to make a Hello World program or a Hello World app in Android. So that's a good start. First, see that on YouTube. Every education is free, right? So even if someone is charging lakhs of rupees, 2,000, 5,000, any amount for a study material, coming years education has to be free. And till now, everything is available on YouTube. So when you step up, you just see how to build an Hello World APK. So when you go there, you get a couple of resources. You just follow one of them, and I will always say, uh, follow the one which is very recent, like recently uploaded. You don't follow something which is on 2013, 2012 upload. A lot of things has changed. So check the one which is quite latest. Okay. accept it, and start experimenting. So when you do that, right, that's the first step you need to do. The second step, you build a hello world. Now see some basic examples of an app, right? A to-do notes app, or consider an example, let's say just another button click listener, or just you want to see all the UI elements Android has. A next step of hello world, right? So let's say I want to build all the UI components. Just Google again that how to implement a button in uh, Android. Then just check how to use radio buttons, check boxes, how to use an input field. Like, you just need to experiment with widgets. Then just see how you can build an APK, right? So that's what you need to do in second year. Just understand the whole programming language and ecosystem, and all of that stuff, right? So once you are done with that as well, then comes your second year, second sem. Okay, इसमें भी first thing you need to reflect is कोई बैक है क्या तुम्हारा previous semester का. अगर नहीं है, well and good, but अगर है, first reflect that, पढ़ो उसको, get it out of your syllabus. Once you're cleared, फिर start on Android. Let's say अब next step you should do is consider building an app. ठीक है? It can be a very basic app. Let's say a to-do notes app, a notes keeper app. It's a very good example, I would say, to start off with. So, or maybe start off with an app which has only one screen, which has your online resume, right? Just like add a photo there, add a name, add your college, add additional details you want, certain designs, whatever designs you need. First, you need to write it down. Like, I need my name, I need my email addresses, and whatever that thing can be, just write it down and then Google it out. I need to build this, how would I do it? I need to build this, how would I do it? So this is what we call learn by doing. So you're learning while actually implementing it, right? So you are actually building something out of it. So when you are done with that as well, right, so you are a step ahead of designing a UI. It can't be a polished UI, yes, I agree, but at least it's an UI. It's something you can see, correct? Now, after this, you definitely need to pick up an app. It should be a very small app. Let's say it can be a TikTok app. No, TikTok is a very big one. Tic-tac-toe, right? That cross and circles. You can build that app. Or maybe, let's say, a to-do notes app is also very, I just love it. Or maybe a quiz app. A lot of basic examples of it, right? It can be a very basic thing which you can start off with, and just note it down, or just note the requirements you have. Let's say you need a login screen. You need note it down that this is what I want to build. Second, let's say you need an input field screen where you need to add the notes. That's the second requirement. Then the third requirement is you need to save certain things there, right? So this is where you need to learn different aspects, that how you take values from an input field, or how you save it in a database, how do you do a Google login. So now, let's say I just have two things. I'll do a Google login and I'll take the input field ka data. So first I'll have to implement a Google login, right? Again, I just Google it out. I'm very naive on all of these aspects. I'll just go to Google, I'll just type how to do Google login in Android. As simple as anything. So you just Google it out, kuch na kuch resource milega, and then at that aspect, you just need to go, you need to select that options. That a certain video might not help you, explanation might be tough, then you need to go to another video, another blog, another topic. Just keep it grinding as much as you can, search as much as you can, experiment, explore, and see that what actually you are trying to get. So anything which actually helps you out here should help you out, right? So let's say that koi blog mila which you can help use it to do the login of Google, right? It might not be the best possible resource on internet, but if it has helped you, it's definitely a good one. So that's how you need to start off with experimenting stuff, right? So now you need to experiment with login. Then a next step comes up is you need to pick up, you need to say, cool, my login is done. Now what I need to do is I need to take the input fields. Then you need to search that how to take an input field from an edit text in Android or anything as a question or a query. Then you get a lot of different options. You just pick that up, you use it, you understand why you are doing it, and then that's it. Right? You are done. Now, the third step, you need to also store it in a database. Again, you just go ask Google about it and let Google help you here. That okay, cool. You need something to store. This is a blog which tells you that how to store notes in a database. Done. That's how you build an app. That's how you learn something out of it. It would not be a very polished app. There might be a lot of issues, a lot of bugs, but the benefit is, let's say you are doing something, you get an error. Now that blog doesn't tell you that ऐसा भी कुछ error हो सकता है, correct? So if you have that specific error right now, what you actually need to do is you need to come up, you need to search for the error. उसका एक solution Stack Overflow पे मिलेगा and you solve it out, right? But the biggest benefit of doing this concept thing is कि once you have faced this error, I'm pretty sure in your entire life वो error फिर आएगा, तो you know कि how to solve it. I'm saying this because once you have did everything to search for that specific error or that specific topic, so that thing makes you very important there. Ki I know you would understand a lot of important aspects there. First, second, when you are searching for something, let's say Google login, uh, you search for databases, you know how to do it now. That's another way of learning it. So you have searched, you know how to do it, you have implemented it, you have a project done. So you learned that as well. Now that's a very crud way of doing it. It's a very crude area, basic types. Now, when you go to a third year, basically your third year, that is when you need to actually make good projects, and you need to showcase to hiring authorities, hiring managers that okay, मेरे को इतना आता था and hire me based on this, right? So what you need to do is you need to actually make good polished apps. It can't be 100% best app, 100% best architected apps, but it has to be very polished. And when I say this has to be polished, it can be like better practices in Android, a best way to write in Android, how do you write in Android, and a lot of different aspects. So that's how you need to take a next step. कि you made a very crude app, a quiz app for example, जिसमें बहुत बेसिक चीजें की थी. अब इसकी बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस क्या है, इसको सबसे अच्छी तरीके से हम कैसे लिख सकते हैं, right? So the difference you need to write an app in a very good way is, consider this example. When you're in a classroom, there are typically two type of student, एक topper, एक non-topper. ठीक है? And when you say this category, so why do toppers get a good number of marks? Because they have their answers very polished. Backbencher भी एक normal answer लिखता है, but उसके answers onto point या onto best practices नहीं होते हैं, which actually people or your faculties consider to be a benchmark, right? So if your benchmark is this, a normal person writes here, right? But a topper grade writes above it because he knows कि सबसे अच्छा number कैसे ला सकते हैं. So that's a best practice of writing an answer. In a similar way, when you write your app to showcase to hiring authorities or managers and HRs in the field, you need to write a best practice code. This is a code which I have written, and I bet you on this. This is one of the best written way of doing it. कुछ भी हो सकता है. It just has to be a very good structured app. It doesn't have to be very fancy, ठीक है, but it has to be very basic, but in a very good way. So that's how you go to a next step. ठीक है, उसके बाद you learn advanced things, architectures, databasing architectures या फिर data dependency injections, बहुत कुछ होता है to learn, but these are the basic steps you need to do. So Kamal has asked me a question. One with not so much of skill in DS Algo can go for 100 development. Definitely yes. मेरे को आज तक नहीं आता DS Algo, and I have no shame in accepting it. But data structures algorithm is very much necessary when you are targeting towards consider Google, Amazon, Facebook, because see DS Algo उनको चाहिए होता है majority times who make a high level thing. So I am using Android ecosystem to build my app, correct? So I know all the things are provided by Google, but if I am in Google, Google is making that platform. They're not making an app out of it. They're making that Android ka platform or that ecosystem. So they need data structures and algorithms to use it to make it a very perfect kind of an ecosystem, right? So वहाँ पे वो efficiency matter करती है. But when you are already using an Android ecosystem, but then at that point आपको जरूरत नहीं पड़ता है. But yes, Kamal, a recommendation for you is you should definitely have an experience or a very basic overview of data structures and algorithm. अभी नहीं, let's say you are doing Android, it's good, you are very pro at it, सब कुछ, but at a certain time in your career, you would definitely need it. ठीक है, consider करो if you someday, after 2 years, 3 years, you plan of your career that I need to try for Facebook. There's a very high chance you might, or you might think of. ठीक है, आपको Android बहुत अच्छे से आता है, but at that point, data structure should not be the thing which stops you out. वो आपको बोले कि आपको DS algo नहीं आता and you can't apply. That is a guilt which you might have then at that point. ठीक है कि now I don't know DS algo pretty much, so मैं apply ही नहीं करूँगा. ठीक है, so that is place where you might need DS algo and I definitely recommend you guys to learn it because अभी आप college में हो, you don't have a lot of task or work to do apart from assignments. ठीक है, वो तो boring चीज होता है, but in apart from assignments you don't have a lot of time to invest in. So at that point you definitely need to practice DS algo and थोड़ा मतलब you don't have to become a very pro level pro, but आप एक basic level पे काम करो, basic level पे पढ़ो and you become a good engineer out of it. ठीक है, DS algo is very much necessary I would say, but Android में उतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता frankly. So do that, experiment and sit for campus placements. ठीक है, there's a very high chance कि you might not get an Android role if you're planning for Android. Cool, but definitely seat for campus placements. एक offer लेके रखो on a better side, and if once you're done with an offer, then I recommend go out in the market. अपना एक expectations देखो कि what is your expectations out of yourself. So consider this, campus placements में 4 लाख 5 लाख 6 लाख ऐसी सैलरी आपको मिलेगी. That is a salary you can't live your life with. ठीक है, मतलब अगर मान लो आपको 5-6 लाख मिला, 6 लाख मिलते हैं, 50,000 is your salary, 5,000 rupees taxes कटेगा, you get 45,000. At that point, a lot of things depend on that specific 45,000. So you need to decide, do you need to really do that 45,000 का job, or you need to get at least 10 lakh rupees a year, 70-80,000 a month, right? So एक stability factor होता है. ठीक है, तो first campus placement ले लो, no matter what the salary is, at least have a backup. And then step out in the market, go for off-campus placements, try out karo full-fledgedly. Select an option, select where you think you want to do in Android. ठीक है, आपको लगता है कि आप वो करना चाहते हो, definitely yes, करो, सीखो, move ahead. When you join, my recommendation always for a job for freshers are startup try करो, एकदम early stage. वहां पे आप बहुत कुछ सीखोगे, इतना कुछ सीखोगे कि एक एमएनसी में जाके नहीं सीखोगे. पैसा might be less, but you would learn a lot of things. So something which you can learn in 3 years, आप startup में 1 साल में सीख जाओगे. So a startup is a good recommendation where you need to start off with. Now coming back to Android, so when I was starting Android, बहुत अच्छे resources हर जगह नहीं हुआ करते थे. Now let's say कि हमको अच्छा resource कहाँ से मिल सकता है. One of the best and the easy resources, what I feel is data structures, Android ecosystem का documentation. Android documentation is very easy, very cool. ठीक है, वो आप आराम से समझ सकते हो. Second, there are couple of blogs जो होते हैं. ठीक है, YouTube channels पे देखो, बकी रॉबर्ट्स करके एक बंदा है, he writes a good basic level of Android programming. वो multiple different languages पे करता है, but Android programming is one of the easiest he teaches out. Udemy पे भी आपको beginner वाले मिलेंगे, आपको Medium पे भी blogs मिलेगा, but you need to search it out. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई आपसे 10,000 का कोर्स, आप किसी से 10,000 का कोर्स खरीद रहे हो and at that point you think कि I have paid 10,000, मैं अब pro बन जाऊंगा या बन जाऊंगी. that doesn't happen. The magic is not there. ठीक है, तो you need to search. आप एक अच्छा YouTube पे प्लेलिस्ट फॉलो अप कर लो, ठीक ठाक सा, do it. उसके बाद keep searching, keep exploring on top of it. ठीक है, that's how you good. और जब आपको लगता है कि ओके ओके टाइप नॉलेज आ गया है आपके पास, देयर इज अ वेबसाइट कॉल्ड minddocs.com. वहां पे ब्लॉग्स बहुत अमेजिंग होते हैं. मैं भी वहां ब्लॉग्स लिखता था. सो उनके ब्लॉग्स में एंड्रॉइड का हर एक इकोसिस्टम का वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन होता है, राइट फ्रॉम अ बिगिनर टू एन एडवांस. ठीक है, आपका सारा कुछ उसमें आपको मिलेगा. ठीक है, दैट्स अनदर वेयर यू कैन सर्च. सो माइंडडॉक्स, एंड्रॉइड डॉक्यूमेंटेशन एंड स्टैक ओवरफ्लो pretty much sorted है सब कुछ के लिए. Now coming back कि why exactly I am here. ठीक है, तो there's a very good initiative जो गूगल ने स्टार्ट किया है. That's Android Droid Jam, जो लोग अभी आपको, मैं जिस सेशन के लिए आया था, right? You do a couple of things step by step, chapter by chapter. You earn badges to show off, which is actually good. ठीक है, and when you do that, आप बेसिक चीजें सीख रहे हो, right? At the first scale, you learn how to design a UI. At the second scale, आप लिस्ट बनाना सीखते हो जैसे WhatsApp में होता है, and a lot of complex things, right? तो आप वहां पे चीजें सीखना स्टार्ट कर देते हो. So that's a good thing which you should actually be doing. ठीक है, तो I definitely recommend everyone, आप अपने DSC leads को पकड़ो, ask a lot of questions to them, a whole lot of questions. उनको बोलो मुझे पढ़ाओ ये सेशन. Do it, submit it, get a certification, show the people that you actually did something. आपने अपना hard yard या hard efforts use किया वो ड्रॉइड जैम पढ़ने के लिए. So that's a good thing, you should be doing it. ठीक है, now I have a question from Pradham. So what is better, Flutter or Android? See, that's always debatable. I always feel आपको Flutter करने के लिए भी basic level of Android का experience होना पड़ेगा. तो I would say first start off with Android, and then if you want to do Flutter, it's up to you, right? So my whole point is, आप पहले देखो आपको चाहिए क्या. Do you just need an Android app? Go with Android. ठीक है, if you need iOS and Android, try Flutter. But a lot of things has a drawback. Android का भी खुद का एक drawback है, Flutter का भी एक drawback है. That's something you need to figure out what you need to do. But अगर आप अभी market jobs के हिसाब से देखोगे, Flutter अभी भी बहुत कम है. Android का खुद का एक market set है जहाँ लोग अभी भी Android engineers ही ढूंढते हैं. So I would say please go with Android for now. But yes, Flutter is evolving. आप उस पे सीख सकते हो, सीखो, सीखना बहुत सही चीज है. बट आप कंपेयर करो कि एंड्रॉइड अच्छा है या फ्लटर अच्छा है, दैट लाइक ओके, इट्स बेसिकली लाइक पुलाव अच्छा है या फ्राइड राइस अच्छा है. बोथ ऑफ द थिंग्स सॉल्व अ डिफरेंट पर्पस. यू जस्ट नीड टू फिगर आउट व्हाट योर पर्पस इज. ठीक है, तो उसके हिसाब से आप चूज कर सकते हो आपका प्लेटफॉर्म. Neelam asked, how much of coding knowledge is required for Android? So it's a very basic level of Java or Kotlin, I would say, जो आपको चाहिए होगा. Just understand the basics of it, the crux of the programming language. ठीक है, and then you basically good to go with Android. Start कर सकते हो. And while doing Android apps, we are building Android apps, you would learn different things about it. So that's another. Yeah, I am up for questions now. ठीक है, so just to summarize, first you need to understand your choice, your interest of your future कि क्या करना चाहते हो. ठीक है, since you guys are here, I think coding is it. But coding में क्या, it can be anything, right? Backend engineering हो सकता है, full stack हो सकता है, Android, iOS, anything. First वो choose करो. Second, decide, when you have decided कि Android करना है, for example, then start the basic programming language. Consider Java, Kotlin कर लिया basic. Next step, छोटे छोटे apps बनाओ, 10, 15, 20 apps बनाओ. You learn that out, you make smaller apps, then you make a big app. जब आप वो भी कर लिए, then learn the best things about it, best things about Android. Okay. Now when you're done with that thing as well, now अब आप एक्सपेरिमेंट करो, एडवांस चीजें करो, किसी ऐप का क्लोन बनाओ, टिंडर का क्लोन बनाओ. दैट देयर इज अ वेरी गुड कोर्स ऑन दैट, मेकिंग कोर्स ऑन टिंडर. ठीक है, क्लोन ऑफ टिंडर, व्हाट्सएप का क्लोन बनाओ. एनीथिंग इज पॉसिबल, राइट? सो दैट्स समथिंग यू नीड टू डू. Now, Shubham has a question that as a newbie, is Kotlin good to start off with? Yes, it is a good programming language to start off with, Shubham, but it still runs on JVM. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि वो जावा से बहुत अलग है. ये जस्ट है कि इसका सिंटैक्स अलग है. ठीक है. शशांक शशांक has asked opportunities in Android development. एकदम बेसिक इसका एक ब्रेकडाउन देखो. इंडिया में 140 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन है. वी हैव 80 करोड़ फोन्स. ठीक है, इवन मोर देन दैट. लास्ट एवरेज 80 करोड़ था. कितने
Yes, Bhaiya, you can start now.
Cool. So sorry, everyone. Again, there was some sort of an issue again going up. So I think I am done with my part. If you guys have any questions, I'm open for it, and then maybe we can close it out. Couple of things. Please go ahead with the droid jam thing, which you guys are doing it. These people, Manas and everyone, are actually leading it out. So help them for better options, for better queries. If you have queries, ask them. Definitely ask them. And if you think you're not being able to solve the purpose, uh, ping me on Twitter. I've shared my Twitter credentials, Twitter username as well. I would be available there answering you guys. But please at least try your hands out in Android and figure out if that's something you need to do or not. But having a user base of more than 60 crores in the world for Android is a very big opportunity to grasp. Just consider that. And if you become one of the good options, good developers, there are thousands of opportunities coming your way. Just make sure that you keep focused. See, this 4 years what you have in college is something you will decide your future. That this 1,000 days would actually decide your future, what you would be in your life coming going ahead. Then you won't get a second chance to go back and see that was this something you needed to like can do it in a better way, you could have done in a better way. But if you have this 4 years, just utilize it. It can be Android, it can be backend, it can be anything. Just utilize it and make the best out of it, right? Make the best out of your college life. Yeah, that's it. I'm looking ahead for a couple of questions more, and then maybe we can just part ways. I think no more questions going ahead. Is there any other questions on other channel? Maybe if there is, let's answer it, or else let's move out. Thanks, Pradman, Neelam, Shivind, and everyone for asking questions. Thank you so much. I think we are done. Maybe. Thank you so much, everyone.
Sorry for technical issues.
That's okay. That happens.
It was
If you guys
thank
become a developer outside of your college, then maybe we can have a better solution now. Looking ahead for your solutions, guys, after 4 years.
So thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank
Uh,
you.
mm, Thank you so much, Mr. Himanshu Singh, for coming and giving your valuable time to all of us. So we will wrap our session here. Thank you again, Mr. Himanshu Singh, and see you
Sure.
guys.
Yeah. And thank you, everyone, for helping me out and just being here and tolerating me for an hour of your time. Thank you.